What's going on, guys? So for today's video, I wanted to continue on with what is slowly becoming a series of mine, where every season I hop on to the free-to-play account and I try to see what exactly I have access to so I can better inform you on what you would be able to do should you choose to play Destiny 2 as a free-to-play player. I will say off the bat that when most people think free to play, they think that the entire game is free, like you can do everything, and that cosmetics and like the battle pass is what you pay for. And in Destiny 2, it's more of the base content as far as like getting into PvP, running some like normal activities that are repeatable. You can do things like that, but when it comes to like seasonal content and yearly expansion content, you still have to pay for that. So I just want to let you guys know that up front, and it'll give you kind of an idea of what to expect going forward as I continue the video. If I sound a little weird, it's because I'm currently on a laptop and I'm using my headset mic. I normally have a nice microphone in front of me, and I'm working with what I got in the process of trying to get a house and got a lot of things going on in my life personally, so I have not been able to upload as often as I would like, but here we are. So if audio sounds weird, I do apologize. I tried to make it sound as good as I could prior to recording the video. So first thing is, let's go over what planets there are and kind of what is available. So when you start a free-to-play account, there's a quest line that you have to do, okay? It's called like the New Light quest line or something like that. It takes you to a guy named Shaw Han. He's right here. He's on the Cosmodrome. You have to do that quest line before the rest of the game opens up. So I had a lot of comments in my last two videos saying, how do I get into PvP if I'm a free-to-play player? You got to do the quest first, okay? Um, Other than that, what you will see is what is in front of me here. So we have access to all of these planets with a caveat. To get onto some of these, I need to do the first story mission for that planet, and then the planet opens. So like for Europa, for me to run around, I have to do the first mission for Beyond Light. For the moon, you got to go do the first mission for Shadowkeep. And for the Dreaming City, you got to do the first mission of the Forsaken campaign. So, other than that, you have the ability to run around, go into the lost sectors, go do public events, all these things on these planets. And if you want anything deeper than that, you're kind of limited because you would need the expansion involved in that. So, what do I mean? Well, right now you can go and you can farm on a paid account. Mind you, paid account can do this. You can go into these things, they're called lost sectors. They're like little mini dungeons. You kill a couple enemies and there's like a little mini boss, and after the boss is a chest. Well, every day they rotate, and depending on what the rotation is, some of these can drop exotic armor, whether it's like chests, arms, helmet, boots, whatever. And you have to be like a certain power level, which is like how strong you are, and you have to have certain guns to kind of disrupt the enemies a specific way. But you're able to go do that and get loot that way. On a free-to-play account, you don't have access to that. So in order to get access to that, you'd have to pay for the expansion. And I think all you would have to do is buy the Beyond Light expansion, and it would open that up to you because that came out during Beyond Light. So for example, and I could be wrong, I don't think that you have to go and have like the moon expansion and have all these other expansions in order to do that. So that's one thing. You do have access to one of the dungeons. You can find that here. This is the tower. This is like the main hub, okay, that you would go. It's right here. It's called the Prophecy Dungeon. So, free to play or not, this is a great way to go in, get some loot, get some good guns, level up your dude, and there is a level requirement that says 1100 power to get in, which is like the lowest you can be in power level. That's your strength. Have some friends help you through it if you know anybody. If not, there's always people looking for groups and discords and stuff like that. You can find some people to do this with. You do not have access to the dungeon that is on the moon, and you do not have access to the dungeon that is on the Dreaming City. You would need those expansions specifically in order to do those. Now, of those two, I would say that the one on the Dreaming City, the Shattered Throne, is much more valuable just because of the gear that can come out of it. That's not to say that the other one is not, but if I had, if anybody has a question like, well, which one of these should I buy? I would say that this dungeon on the Dreaming City is the better of the two. Just my personal preference. One thing that they did change, however, was I used to be able to play Trials. Now you have to buy Beyond Light. Now, specifically, you have to buy whatever is the most current DLC for that expansion. So when the Witch Queen comes out, you're going to need the Witch Queen because that's the next year's yearly expansion to play Trials. Before, I was able to just play it as a free-to-play. That's where I got this bad boy. And I've used it a little bit. It's a great little Trials gun. I've got this. Got some random stuff on here just from playing with my friends. But they changed all that now. So no more Trials for free-to-play players. Problem that they were running into was you'd have people cheating in the game. They ban them. Those people that were cheating would just go make a new account, hop right back in Trials, and keep cheating against people who are just trying to play the game. So that's why they did that. It kind of sucks, but whatever. The rest of this is your normal PvP. You can play all of this. Here's your competitive playlist. They call it Survival now. But that's pretty much all for PvP, with the exception of once a month, you have a thing here. It's called Iron Banner. Essentially, it's the exact same game mode as Control. So there's 3 flags on the thing on the map, and the goal is to control the flags while getting the most kills. The more flags you control, the more kills you get, the faster you win the game. So Iron Banner is the same thing, with the exception of there's power level enabled. So if you are a high level being measured by your power number here, the highest you can go right now is 1330. If I am a higher power than you, I will do more damage to you in PvP. And if you are lower power than me, you will do less damage. So it might take like another bullet or 2 to kill. The reason that you want to do this is because there's a lot of great gear you can get from this. Super high stat armor. You can get really good guns from this, and you can do it as a free-to-play player. So once a month, you can take all your characters through, and it gives you pinnacle gear drops, so your character will level up in the process. Spend the most of your time that you can in Iron Banner if you're a free-to-play player. That would be my one suggestion. Over here we have our Nightfall strikes and our Nightfalls, which is just like a harder version of a specific strike. The Nightfalls will rotate once a week. So the company will pick one strike to play that week as a Nightfall. Right now it's the Corrupted Strike. And you can do that. And at the end, it gives you really powerful, like you can get exotics, you can get pinnacle drops from it. With the caveat, if you're a free-to-play player, you cannot do the strike if the strike falls in a DLC that you do not own. So for example, this week right now is the Corrupted Strike. The Corrupted Strike came out in the Forsaken campaign. I do not own the Forsaken DLC, so therefore I cannot do a Nightfall at all this week. So you essentially have to wait for a Nightfall to come out in order for you to be able to do it. It has to be one of the old strikes that came out in whatever Bungie decides is a free-to-play strike. So that's something to know going in. But if you can do it, I would suggest farming it because you can get a lot of really good stuff. One of the other things you can do is called Gambit. So this is essentially a PvE game mode where you go and you kill ads. Ads will drop motes on the ground. You take those motes, you bank them into a central hub. The goal is to get to 100 motes before the other team. When you hit 100 motes, a big boss comes out and you try to kill the boss as fast as you can. So that's the PvE aspect of it, but there's also PvP involved with this, where during that process, you can invade the other team's area, so it's 4 people versus 4 people, you can like teleport to their side and you can go and try to kill them and stop them from getting their moats and banking their moats and killing their boss before you kill yours, just like they can invade you. So this is something a lot of people have fun with. The Gambit community is a little bit niche. You either love it or you hate it. Just really depends on how you feel about it. So if you haven't tried it, go in there and give it a shot. See what you think about it. Hopefully you have some fun. Another thing that you can do as a free-to-play player is you can play the Vault of Glass raid. This is currently the only raid that is available as free-to-play. Between Iron Banner, the dungeon, the Prophecy dungeon that you can do, and the Vault of Glass, those are your best ways of getting gear that is good for endgame activities, endgame PvP, competitive playlist PvP, stuff like that. So if you're wondering where to go, those are the three. Vault of Glass Raid, Prophecy Dungeon, Iron Banner. Okay? The rest of them, you need the DLC. So like for the Last Wish Raid, which came out during Forsaken, you need that. For the raid involved with Europa, the Deepstone Crypt, you need that DLC. So just keep that in mind, okay? One thing that you can do every week as a free-to-play player is Xur will come around, and he's made some changes. So let's go visit Xur. Right now he's in the tower. And what Xur does, this is what he looks like. It's a little guy in like a blacked out outfit. He's got like tentacles on his face. He's a real weird alien looking guy. As you can appreciate here. What you can do is every week he will sell exotics. One for each character class. Okay? So what this means is you have one for your hunter, one for your titan, one for your warlock, depending on what you play. And you can just straight up buy them. So for 23 legendary shards, you can buy these shards of Galanor. With a caveat. If that exotic armor came out during a DLC, you have to own the DLC to get it. So for example, these arms, this helmet, and these boots all came out in Forsaken. I don't have Forsaken, so I could not buy this one-eyed mask for the Titan that I'm on right now. What you can do, though, is you can buy this gun that he sells. Again, as long as it's in the DLC that you have available. You can buy this gun, and you can also buy this engram. What this engram will do is it will give you one exotic item, whether it's armor or a gun, that you do not currently have. And you want to do this every week, because over time, eventually you'll get everything. It's pretty expensive. It's 97 legendary shards. At the beginning, you're going to be kind of strapped for cash when it comes to 11 legendary shards. For example, I have 4. So there's that. But what he also sells is he sells this thing. It's called an exotic cipher. You can pick it up from him. It's free. The reason I'm showing you here is because I already picked it up. So essentially, you pick it up after you've purchased that engram, and then you do these activities, and then you can go redeem it to him for a second piece of exotic gear. And you can do this every week. So you can get 2 exotic pieces every week. And all it says is complete strikes or win matches in Crucible or Gambit. Hit 21 on the progress bar. Boom, you get the cipher. You can bring it to him. What he's recently started doing is he's also selling legendary weapons. So depending on what it is, some of these are really good. So like if you have never gotten a bottom dollar in Gambit, this is actually a pretty good bottom dollar. It's a 120 energy hand cannon. This main ingredient is really good for PvP, a lot of stability. As well as this dire promise. You got rangefinder, snapshot, high cal, steady hand, or fast draw, stability masterwork. This is like a PvP gun. Some of these are good for PvE. Like this one's decent for PvE. So you can come here and you can also buy armor. Like look at that. That's 60 total stats on that armor. Which as a free-to-play, like brand new player, I don't expect you to know. But I'm just trying to tell you like this chest piece right here is good, even if you're on like an endgame account. High recovery, high intellect stat. A lot of people are going to pick this up. So that's just to kind of bring your attention to it. These boots are pretty good too. That Xur is a thing. He comes around every Friday at reset, depending on where you live. It's like middle of the day. Bungie does a reset. He'll come in and he'll stay there until the following Tuesday morning. He'll leave that morning when reset hits again. So go to Xur, do those things. It's your best way to get exotics. Trying to think of what else I could tell you. There have been some changes in Iron Banner armor, where if you get Iron Banner armor like this helmet here, they now have a perk to them where the more pieces of armor you earn, the more legendary prisms or exotic prisms, whatever they're called, like the endgame material you can earn. So if you read here, grants a chance to receive enhancement prisms, that's what they're called, sorry, as a reward at the end of an Iron Banner match. Each piece of armor that you're wearing with this perk increases the chance of receiving an enhancement prism to a maximum of 4 items. So you wear 4 pieces of Iron Banner gear, you play the crap out of Iron Banner, you get a whole bunch of legendary, God, I keep messing up, enhancement prisms. You get enhancement prisms, which you use to level up your gear, and you can eventually turn these into Ascendant Shards, which is another item you need to level up your endgame gear. That's probably the biggest pain point of a free-to-play account. Like, I can find other ways to get armor, get guns and stuff, but like masterworking things and having the materials to do so gets very expensive. Out of all the time I've played on the free-to-play account, I have one character, my Warlock, that has a full build. I'll show you what that looks like here in a moment. That's fully masterworked. I mean, other than that, it's really hard to come across these materials. You really got to sink some time into the account. So if you look, you see how all my armor has this, like, oh, we're doing the intro scene, hold on. All my armor has that, like, gold shimmer around the outside. That's what that means. So all of this is masterworked. So it just gives a little bump. Those little gold pieces of the stats there gives a little bump to the stats, let you put more mods on it. Like each one of these mods costs an amount. This one costs 5, this one costs 4. The more you level this up, the more points you have in that armor to slot things. So like right now I'm using 9 of the 10 energy I have available on that armor. That's kind of what that means. So like getting the materials to do that is very difficult on a free-to-play account. Everything I'm saying right now has the potential to change when the Witch Queen launches. There'll be an event in between where it's kind of like it's like Christmas or something like that, where they're bringing out a dungeon for that time frame. I don't know exactly what the free-to-play account can do. I know it'll be limited in that sense. It's like their 30th anniversary celebration kind of thing. I believe that's correct. So take all of that with a grain of salt. Hopefully this video was informative. I know I went over a lot. The people who are like brand new to this game, you're probably like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But I hope that this helped you guys out. The last thing I could think about is the Battle Pass. You get this by just opening up your directory. Go to whatever season's up here. This is season 15. This is your Battle Pass. As you level it up, it gives you these things. Up here is the free-to-play version. Down here is the paid version. So like if I bought the Battle Pass, I'd have access to like the shader to put on all my gear. I'd have access to this gun at level 1. I'd have this emote, or this finisher rather. So things like that. There's exotics involved in leveling up the account. In the Battle Pass, I'd have this other shader. So hopefully this was helpful. I tried to make sure I didn't leave anything out. Again, I'm on a laptop, so I apologize for the audio kind of being not so great. But I hope to see you guys in the next one. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.